Hey y'all, it's Dawn, and I'm so glad you're back. I've got another fun, budget-friendly DIY video for you today. As some of y'all may know, I started using chalk Couture a few months ago, and let me tell you, this makes crafting and decorating so much easier and quicker. I wanted to make a farmhouse-ish sign for my living room, but I couldn't find the size I wanted with chalk Couture. I decided to make my own reusable mesh stencil. Yeah, I know it sounds difficult, but trust me, it really isn't. The items you'll need are some vinyl or stencil film. I have used both. Some stencil mesh, which I found on Amazon and it's now in my Amazon store. Parchment or wax paper. For this project, I used Dollar Tree parchment paper, but I would recommend not using it. You can also find the parchment paper I've used in my Amazon store. You'll need some Ultra Heat and Bond. Be sure to use Ultra and not Light Bond. I tried it with the Light Bond and it just didn't work well. And a heat press or iron. That's it. The first thing you'll want to do is lightly press the stencil mesh so that it is good and flat. Next, cut your vinyl and stencil film and the Ultra Heat Bond to the desired size and place it on top of some parchment or wax paper. Sandwich this between the parchment or wax paper. Set your heat press to 280 degrees and press well. You'll want to start pressing for 10 seconds on both the front and the back side. And then check to see if it took. If so, you're done with this step. If not, continue pressing until the heat and bond is stuck to the vinyl. Trim the vinyl down and remove any excess heat and bond. Now it's time to cut out your design. I created this farmhouse-ish, that's a word that's hard to say, farmhouse-ish design, and I'll leave a link to it in the description if you're a Cricut user. I use the cardstock setting, but you will have to do some trial and error to find the setting that works best for your machine. Once it's cut out, you will want to remove the negative space or the space you want to apply paint to. Next, remove the backing from the heat and bond. Place the silk screen or stencil mesh on the top of your design and sandwich between the parchment or wax paper. Lightly kiss the design. Apply just enough heat to cause the heat and bond to melt and attach the silk screen. Remove the parchment paper before the design gets cool. As you can see, I waited a little too long and the parchment paper stuck to the stencil. Or it may have been the Dollar Tree parchment paper because I haven't had this problem in the past while using the Reynolds parchment paper. Remove the stencil from the parchment paper. I removed as much of the backing from the stencil as I could. We'll see how this turns out. Trim any areas that you feel need to be trimmed. I trimmed away all the excess silk screen. I had this piece of scrap wood that I'd already painted and distressed and thought it would look amazing for this DIY. I applied a layer of surface wax and buffed it with a soft rag. I positioned the stencil onto the wood and used a roller to make sure there was no air under the stencil. I used Chalk Couture black ink and applied it to the stencil. I removed the stencil and wow, I love it. I used my heat gun first to dry the ink, and then placed a piece of parchment paper on top and heated it with my Cricut heat press. Guys, I got this heat press for Christmas and it has made my life in crafting so much easier and quicker. It works so much better than my iron on projects like this. I set the heat press at 335 degrees and pressed each of the areas for 35 seconds. I used the cow from this Chalk Couture stencil and some black chalk paste for more of a farmhouse-ish look. After everything was dry, I applied a layer of satin Mod Podge to seal and protect the sign. And oh my goodness, the cow really finished this sign off. I absolutely love how this farmhouse-ish, I'll get it in a minute, sign turned out, and I can't wait to hang it in my living room. You can find links to all the products I used for this project in the description, along with a link to the cut file I created in Design Space. You know you want this cutie in your home too, so go ahead and make it. Please take a second to like this video and leave me a comment. This really helps my channel to grow so others just like yourself can find me. If you just found me, I hope you will join our little family by hitting the subscribe button. If you are already part of the family, thank you so much for your love and support. Y'all are the absolute best. Check out my new Amazon store for craft supply and farmhouse home decor recommendations. All the products I use from Amazon in my videos can be found there. Until next time, happy crafting!